So on my Summers in 5 years video, I seen a comment that said do SoFaygo next, and you know I got you. Now so far in my 5 years from now series, we've covered Yeat, Summers, two of the most praised underground rappers. So it only feels right to do SoFaygo next. His melodic vocals, his unique production and flows, SoFaygo has proved to the underground scene that he's one of the most talented rappers in this new generation. Like for real man, his voice is angelic. I've always been a fan of him, but rarely listening to his work while making this video, like this man is talented. Now when it comes to where I see him in 5 years, man, we really gotta think. Because as fans, we were already collectively wrong. Cause as we all know, his career has not played out like we thought it would. And as much as it sucks to say, man, signing with Travis was the worst thing he could have done for his career. But listen to this, man. Earlier today, at the time of this recording, Travis and Faygo unfollowed each other on Instagram. So maybe Travis really was holding him back, or maybe Travis dropped him. We're gonna talk about that more in a minute, but anyways, what I was saying, if Pink Hearts dropped in 2020, this would be an entire different video, because in 2020, after already having the underground scene on lock, he would drop his first real hit record, and that was Knock Knock. This song would reach high mainstream level, and with cosigns from Uzi, Gunna, Trippie, and Travis, people thought that Yeat's success should have been SoFaygo a year before. And Knock Knock wasn't no small hit. To put in perspective how big this song really was, Knock Knock has more streams than any of Yeat, Summers, Autumn, basically any underground rapper's biggest song. This song went mainstream as fuck, and it's not even close to his best song. But as we all know, man, waiting till 2022 to drop his highly anticipated project, it had changed the entire momentum going into his career. Now of course that was just a roadblock, and it didn't completely stop his success, cause even after 2 years, man, he's still one of the most talented, successful young artists in the underground scene. 5 million monthly listeners, and still one of the most popular out of all the underground rappers still. And his chance of becoming one of the faces of the industry, I definitely would say is high. Although with his recent falling out with Travis Scott, this might have caused some bigger repercussions than we actually think. Now if you're new here, man, we go through 3 different scenarios where I see an artist in 5 years. And after deep diving into his career and really finding different outcomes, we'll decide at the end which one's the most probable and realistic. Now, similar to the Summers video, I want to start off with the worst possible outcome. Now, out of all of these scenarios, this one is the least probable to really happen in the next 5 years, and that's why I'm going to say it first. And literally earlier today at the time of this recording, like I said earlier, Travis Scott unfollowed SoFaygo on Instagram. Now I've watched some videos of people trying to break it down and see what really happened, but right now we have no idea. But the reason that cutting ties with Travis could be so detrimental is because all SoFaygo fans know we were relying on that Utopia feature. We thought this was gonna be the push he needed to go mainstream. The way Travis turned Don Toliver into a star, that's what SoFaygo fans were expecting, and the reason we were relying on that is because the last project he dropped, it just didn't push him out of that underground scene. He's still there, where a lot of people thought that was gonna propel him to the next level. So with all of that being said, the first outcome has to do with that, has to do with cutting ties with Travis, because let's just hope there wasn't anything serious. Because if there even is a little conflict between them and the media gets a hold of it and creates their own narrative, the millions of Fortnite kids who are on Travis's dick working 9 to 5s, bro, will overpower Faygo's fan base. And not that this will fuck up his fan base and make people not fuck with him, but if this departure was really to blackball him from the mainstream, like we've seen before when artists get signed by another artist and then have a falling out, then that could really be detrimental. Where would blackballed from mainstream SoFaygo end up? And in 5 years, people might just remember him for that one TikTok song and the beef with Travis Scott, and only his real fans know how truly hard he is. Although there's a reason why I said this one has the least chance of actually happening. Because with being only 21 years old and so involved and talked about in the underground scene of music, our second outcome is actually the farthest thing from the first. And regardless if he's with Travis or not, the second outcome is SoFaygo breaking through and becoming a superstar in the upcoming 5 years, and go on to be known as one of the most melodically gifted new age rappers of this generation. Now I have a lot of confidence about this outcome, way more than the first one, and the reasoning for that is as simple as his music is so angelic and well put together. You could tell he's really musically inclined, and his ability to flow is unlike anything I've seen, because he's got that baby rap, like he could rap like Baby and sing like Chris Brown. Plus he's got his own little flow, so I just think that really is enough to take him to the top. He reminds me of Yeat, but not in the way he sounds, but in the way that he has something to offer that you can't get from anybody else. His flows are different but so fire. And although his recent album only sold 10K, if his next one sells 20 and the next one sells 40, next one sells 60, in 5 years, he'll be a mainstream artist. And by that time, music will have shifted from street to plug-in beat. So SoFaygo will be 26 and grown right into the face of the industry, just like we've seen Uzi and Cardi today. So being an absolute icon in the next 5 years and evolving right in front of our eyes like the rappers of the last generation, is this realistic? Well, in my opinion, yes. I truly think SoFaygo has potential to really have long-term success, even more than Yeat. I see him as just taking over the future. The way Yeat came up so fast, I just see SoFaygo way behind, just steadily improving, and eventually one day he's gonna pass him. I just see him taking over the future. He's got the sound, he's got the image, and he's got the fan base. So the second outcome is SoFaygo will be a superstar in 5 years. Now the last outcome is something a lot of rappers gotta deal with, and the last outcome is SoFaygo might have already reached his highest potential. Now hear me out. We've seen so many rappers in the past drop such amazing music in their come up, and then once they're on, their fans are never satisfied. Trippie Redd, A Boogie, Polo G, all these rappers were so amazing on their come up that the bar was set too high. You had no room for failure, and having no room for failure while not having the same ambition you had while you were on your come up, it just won't blend. Now the only reason I think this is possible for SoFaygo is because the year 2019. Bro was tapped in. You could tell his work ethic, his consistency, and he was just really evolving and finding his sound, and that was the year he really popped off. And then a year after having a hit song, that wasn't even his best song, it just went viral, he just didn't capitalize off it like he should, and it's just so similar to Roddy Ricch. Roddy Ricch had the box, waited so long, dropped again, and people just didn't fuck with it. And that's because even though SoFaygo's project was amazing, his value and anticipation and relevance, they all play into the hype. So without the hype, it already lowered the outsider's standards because it truly deserves more, but a lot of people just don't give it a shot because it just isn't known. Travis really didn't do shit for him, bro. If you really think about it, I seen a video on YouTube and it was only distributed by Cactus Jack. They didn't have no label go into the push of this album, and that's why it sold so low. And was there even a Travis feature? I don't even think there was a Travis feature. Yeah, so the third outcome, it doesn't have nothing to do with Travis, I'm just saying, but the third outcome will be his best music was in 2019, and he was never really able to replicate that sound again, and his fans really just were never satisfied. Now don't count that option out because I seen it happen to artists I would have never imagined it happening to. So now that I just went over all three, you gotta comment which one you think's the most realistic. Let me go through it quick before you comment. We got A, be blackballed by the mainstream after cutting ties with Travis Scott. Now we've seen so many rappers in the past who cut ties with a bigger artist and they just never were popping again. Option B, break through in the next few years, and by the time 5 years comes, he will be one of the faces of the industry. And C is had already reached his peak and never able to match that music he was to put out in his come up. Now after going over all three scenarios, the answer I choose, man, and don't be heated. I said it last video too, man, I'm gonna have to go with B. Now I can't lie, maybe I'm being a little biased, but I don't think so. Let me know if I am. But his sound is just so unique and his style is so creative and catchy that I really just can't see him not taking over. All he needs to do is continue dropping music and work with the right people. Working with the right rappers will help you get a new hit, and if he just gets one more hit and he actually does capitalize off it like he should, then I think in the next 5 years he'll be an actual legend, superstar, icon, face the industry. Same way we look at Uzi and Cardi, how we seen them in 2016 to who they are now. I think the same shit with SoFaygo because he's so young right now, bro, and he really has so much time to evolve and find himself. But of course the only person who knows is time, so we're gonna have to let time tell with that one. And it's been your boy 10 Toes, and I'm out. Catch you, boy.